This channel's real, this channel's about documenting, this channel's about talking, having an open opinion. And let's get started. Say whoa, say whoa. Say whoa. Head of a horse, the body of a man. Unidentified flying object. Welcome back to another video. What's up, guys? It's me, Donato Bay, and let's get into another video. Now, y'all that watch me a lot, if you're new here, hello. I'm obsessed with Antarctica and the ice wall. That's one of my major obsessions. Just one of them, okay? So this video is going to be some new information that I believe that I found, some new pictures, just a new fresh, like people are talking more around like 2025 about it. Now, there may be some videos and some pictures that you guys that have followed me have seen before because, as I say, I'm highly obsessed with Antarctica. I'm gonna try to at least once a year or twice a year do a compilation and just keep bringing the attention and the focus back to Antarctica, because I believe that's where everything we need to know is. I believe that's how one of the doorways out, one of the big ass doorways out. Nobody fights over that land. Make sure you guys can hear me. Nobody fights over that land. Everybody can get along and have peace and harmony, but we got all these alleged stuff going on now and in the past and possibly the future, whatever that looks like. So my thing is, I know there's things there. I just wish I knew exactly, what was there. There's things there. There's buildings there. There are things that are still alive there. And beyond that, there are multiple worlds. This little system is in a globe, and this is nothing. This is one sector. This map, I thought at first was the map of everything in a sense. No, this is just our realm. This out here is the beginning of whatever their realm is. And then there's other domes and other sections, and you'll see this through maps. Like the little, I've done videos on it, like I said, but there's maps that show like where we're at, and then like this other unit and this unit and this unit, Mars, Jupiter. The lie that was told about it being up in the sky was never up there. It's just cosmos, spaces in the ocean, and all the planetary systems. What I'm trying to say are actually these other worlds. Like the Pleiadians, it's another world. It's literally right here. It's not up there. It's this way. It's out. It's out of that wall. It's above and beyond that wall, y'all. So, enough rambling. But y'all, I have to say it. I gotta give some commentary as well, because this is my shit. Okay. So leave some comments below. Throw in some information that you don't think I've covered, maybe something that you don't think I've heard of. Let your girl know, okay? And with that being said, do not obey, stay woke, peace.
Our Earth really looks like this. The whole thing is that recently a hacker from Darknet discovered this photo from 1972, taken from space, and it has a flat shape. And in this picture, known to all of us, Antarctica is not depicted as a continent, but as a giant ice wall that surrounds all our continents, and there are many confirmations of this. For example, in 1992, a world map known as the Gleason Map was released, and on it, Antarctica is depicted as a giant ice wall. Followers of this map believe that behind this ice wall are thousands of other worlds. You have probably all heard about this giant pyramid found in Antarctica, which is much bigger and older than the Egyptian pyramids. And there is a version that this pyramid was built by an ancient civilization that came to us from behind an ice wall. There is an assumption that in 1995, Vatican has sent to this pyramid the secret expedition, and they there have found a set of ancient artifacts older than all history of mankind. And all found artifacts from there presumably have hidden in a secret library of Vatican. What if
long have you people known about these other human species, okay? These people deserve the truth, buddy, and I'm gonna give it to them.
Look, man, during my time in at the agency, there was research on what was known as Region 8, right? Full of all these derivative human species, undocumented land masses, okay? One of which was known as Panthea, right? Rock-textured terrain far outside of the parameters of sunlight, okay? And inhabited by a species with biological adaptations so unorthodox that we had them flagged as the most dangerous specimen on the planet.
What kind of adaptations we talking?
The lack of sunlight in this region had basically given them daytime level visibility in the darkest of night, okay? Biokinetic abilities, their electromagnetic output is so disproportionate to other organisms, it allows them to take control of other entities' central nervous systems simply through eye contact, okay?
I mean, you're scaring me here, man.
Yeah, man, I should be, because back in the late 90s, we ran an extraction operation to capture and contain one.
So these tunnels underground, which lead to a vast city beneath Manhattan, were created by the Vanderlei family, who were one of 7 families that allegedly came from beyond the ice wall and discovered our world centuries ago.
Exactly. Story goes our world's a whole lot bigger than we've been led to believe, buddy. That we are allegedly surrounded by this massive ice wall. Somewhere far outside of this ice wall, there is a place called the Ancestral Lands. This is where the Vanderleis were from. They, along with 6 other families, reigned supreme over the Ancestral Lands. They were like royalty. Amidst one of their expeditions, they discovered a massive wall made of ice in the middle of the ocean. Eventually, they found passages in the ice wall big enough for their ship to get inside. And the weeks that followed marked the discovery of 7 different continental landmasses. Each family claimed one. And so our world was born. They devised a plan to populate each continent with their own people from the ancestral lands, but only embryos. So they, or we, would have no knowledge of our origins.
From the 50s of Antarctica and them flying over it and seeing other lands.
Bunker leans forward in amazement. His eyes have caught such an unbelievable change in scenery. The universal white has turned to chocolate brown, dotted with blue. A cameraman goes into action. 300 square miles of land without snow. Land that might be in New Mexico or Arizona. Pictures alone will prove Bunker has discovered a warm oasis in the shadow of the pole. It is for such supreme moments as this that men brave the hardships of exploration. The astounding, undreamed of fact is that they are over a chain of warm water lakes, whose shores, except for small patches, are free of ice and snow. Commander Bunker circles the largest lake in sight, 5 miles long. He comes in to make a landing. Water temperatures must be recorded. Samples taken. He finds the water fresh. Temperature 38 degrees Fahrenheit. On the shores are vast deposits of gold and of minerals of the utmost importance to civilization. Mountain ranges with peaks 20,000 feet above sea level.
Now, this video is not AI, although the source of it is said to have leaked from some archive. All I know is that when human freedom is truly restored, and we are allowed to go beyond the ice wall, videos like this, but in full HD, not recorded with a potato, will blow our freaking minds. New trees, new species of animals, and possibly new races of people previously thought to be coming from either the stars or totally unknown to our natural world here, but exist beyond the realm of what is allowed for us to explore. The Antarctic Treaty, man, you got to do a deep dive. Project, Fishbowl Project, there's another one where they've explored and found things, and it's all classified, but we've heard leakings of the truth of what they found there, and it's absolutely shocking. There's so much more to this realm that we live in.
Elite wants you to think no one has returned from beyond the ice wall, but the truth. Some have, and their accounts will haunt you.
I shouldn't be saying this, but you have to know. The land, it's alive. It watches you. It knows you're there.
One survivor described forests where the trees hum with energy, so loud it can drive you mad. They said the air was thick like breathing through a nightmare. Another claimed they were stalked by something they could only describe as the gazer, a creature that never moves but always sees you. The closer you get, the less you remember who you are. And then there's the explorer who found ruins, monuments older than any human civilization. They said the carvings weren't written in a language but in thoughts. It was speaking directly to my mind, they wrote before vanishing.
It's not just the creatures, it's the place. It changes you. You feel like you're being unraveled and rebuilt into something else.
Leaked government files describe changes in the returnees, heightened senses, strange scars, and an obsession with going back, like they were being called by the land itself. The survivors speak of one thing they all saw, the edge of the world. A void so vast and silent, they said it was like staring into the mind of the universe itself. But here's the twist. Every single survivor has disappeared. Were they silenced? Or did they go back?
So this is a video of the moon. This is past the ice wall.
Pierdol. Tu tam z tyłu, głos! Ja. No.
Okay. Now, I'm not claiming this is real, but check out these fascinating details. Look at this city. You know, there's a ton of talk about cities beneath the ice caps and even on the other side of these caps. And guess what? There are maps out there. I'll share one that might show what lies beyond the ice wall. Could these maps reveal passages beyond the ice barrier too? Look at these divers encountering an unusual ice wall underwater in Antarctica. It's not your typical iceberg, that's for sure. What would you do if you had the chance to explore Antarctica?
Winter of 1937, a military expedition vanished beyond the Antarctic shelf. No final report, no names recorded, only reels of damaged film recovered decades later. The footage shows what they found, a wall of ice stretching beyond the limits of geography, carved not by nature, but by something deliberate. And behind it, what appears to be a structure, an ice citadel etched with faces no historian can place. They made their way through the main passage, boots dragging across frost that hadn't melted in centuries. The first chamber held no furniture, no tools, only a black pedestal humming quietly as if waiting to be used. Further in, the rooms grew stranger, ceiling carvings that matched no known language, walls etched with symbols that glowed faintly under lantern light. And then they entered what the documents call the Celestial Room, a dome of perfect symmetry, star maps etched in mirrored eyes, spanning constellations we have yet to name. They weren't just charting the sky, they were marking something, a path, a warning, a return. And now, after nearly a century, we have to ask, were they the first to find it or simply the last to disappear?
Now, why is the South Pole important? Why do we go down there? It is because the bottom of the world is an untouched reservoir of natural resources. Strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Right up to the ice barrier of the Ross Sea shelf, behind which lay the Bay of Whales and Little America. The only entrance was through a miraculous canyon in the ice barrier. Narrow gaps no more than 400 yards wide and slowly closing every day. Through this, the ships disappeared, one by one, creeping between giant jaws of ice that loomed threateningly off either bow. A harmless threat, though, for all emerged without mishap into the Bay of Whales. Ahead was a landfall of solid ice and Little America.
million-ton iceberg, which we're just hearing has broken off Antarctica.
Sudden burst of solar activity, which melted down those ice sheets, but that's not what I go with.
"38 people disappeared overnight while headed from Chile to Antarctica."
Locked in away ice, Antarctica guards mysteries that might just rewrite the story of our past and shake up everything we thought we knew. A former naval officer and a journalist have shared shocking stories on how they discovered an entrance to a secret alien base containing UFOs in Antarctica. How did this naval flight engineer Brian discover this secret alien base? How is the world power trying to hide it from the entire planet? Join us on this intriguing journey as we explore the terrifying truths of the U.S. terrifying claim that aliens are hiding in Antarctica. The Naval Officer's Revelation. In January 2015, investigative reporter Linda Moulton Howe stumbled upon a mysterious Antarctic tale when she got an email from Brian, a retired U.S. naval flight engineer with a wild story from his time in Antarctica in the 80s and 90s. Brian dropped a bombshell, claiming he saw some seriously strange stuff during his 4,000 flight hours over Antarctica.
Naval flight engineer. He's asked me to call him only Brian.
The juiciest part of the story is that he stumbled upon a massive, perfect circle carved into the Antarctic ice sheet, leading to a glowing cave entrance below. But here's where it gets even weirder. When Brian tried to get closer, all the gadgets in his aircraft went haywire, and they had to do an emergency restart. After that encounter, shady authorities confiscated records and gave Brian and his crew the silent treatment. Intrigued by the craziness of Brian's story, Linda dug deeper.
Something archaeological in Antarctica.
Brian later spilled the beans on what went down. In 1987, during a resupply flight out of McMurdo Station, Brian and his crew got last-minute orders to pick up something from a remote campsite in Antarctica's interior. When they arrived, they found the camp trashed and deserted, with no sign of human activity anywhere. This creepy scenario kicked off a string of disappearances at Antarctic stations. Odd radio bursts in strange languages popped up before each disappearance, coming from some unknown source deep under the ice. As the crew got jittery, Brian's co-pilot spotted a big shiny craft silently cruising past their cockpit. It was like something out of a sci-fi movie.
On the animals down there, or what is down? What kind of gun do you need us to take? He said, an M16. And I said, why would we want to take an M16 down there? He said, you find out when you get there. I said, you can't give us any more information than that? He said, I don't know. I really don't know. And I felt that he was sincere there, that he didn't know. I said, well, who would we find out? Who would we talk to? So he said, well, the chief of security police. So I went to the chief of security police, who was at the time a major, and I asked the major, I said, we want to go down to Urania. He said, I need to send some troops down there with you. I said, why? What's going on down there? He said, we really don't know. I said, you want to tell me in straight words what you're talking about? He said, he looked around the room. He said, let's go into the other room. So we went in the back room. It was like a supply room. He sat down, he looked down on the floor, and he kind of looked around. He said, there's aliens living in that mountain. I said, extraterrestrial aliens. Yep. I said, that's why the mountain opens. Shakes his head. I said, so what are we going to find when we go down there? He said, we only went down there once, and we never went back. So I said, you went down there, when you climbed the mountain? He said, no. There's a tunnel. The old uranium mine is there, and there's a tunnel that leads by the old mine shaft. We had built that, the test site built that for a testing area. They were going to test lasers in it. And when they got a certain point into the mountain, about a mile in, they realized there were visitors there. And this is what he's telling us. So we got out of there. So I said, the United States Air Force, the United States Army is pulling out of a place that you saying? Did you actually see him? He said, no, I never saw him. So I said, I want to go down there. So I got a couple agents, and there was a security detail of 12 to 15 of them, I believe, security police. And they were armed. I didn't take an M16. We didn't take it. We had them, but I was trained in them, but I didn't take them. I had my handgun.
Plus you had the whole crew.
Yeah, plus those guys are going to protect us. At least I hope. I went down there, we walked in. I mean, we went in, and they had erected a huge vault door because of what they found inside. And there was combination locks and so forth, and it took some time for it to get the big vault door open. And the security guys go, there it is. I said, well, you guys going in with us? And they kind of looked at each other. It was a lieutenant that was a leader of them. If you insist. I said, have you been here before? He said, yeah. I said, have you seen anything?
Beings.
From 1977. This 15-minute footage was taken by a NASA satellite. If you reverse it back up and adjust the settings, you can see the land beyond the ice wall. You can see machinery tracks because they are mining rare materials beyond the ice wall. This is why they don't want you to know about it. Leaked footage of our
Not gatekeeping something down there. I don't know what this is. An amateur pilot just flew over Antarctica and is now being detained against his will. His name is Ethan Guo, and he was met with men in black suits upon landing there who placed him under arrest. Ethan was on a mission to raise $1 million for childhood cancer research by being the first person to fly solo over all 7 continents in the world. After journeying for over 360 days, the last continent on his list was Antarctica. He was flying from Chile to Argentina, performing an extended flyby of the Antarctic rim he was later planning on going to, when poor weather conditions forced him to make an emergency landing in a public airfield on King George Island in Antarctica. At first, he was met with the airport security team and firefighting staff to make sure he was all good, and they welcomed him into their base. Everything seemed fine, and he was even clear to continue his journey after about an hour, when all of a sudden, men in black clothing came and arrested him as he was about to leave. They took his phone, strip searched him, inspected his entire plane, impounded it at a local hangar, and then finally placed him in a holding cell under guard supervision, denying him access to Wi-Fi or any contact with the outside world. Turns out, those men in black suits were the Chilean Navy, claiming he violated international aviation rules by submitting a false flight plan to Argentina and then faking an emergency to land in Antarctica. But as mentioned, this is a public airfield in Antarctica, which isn't owned or governed by the laws of any country in the world. And typically, emergency airplane landings grant you immunity from regulations and protocol to ensure your safety above anything else. Yet they threw all that out the window and placed him on a 90-day travel ban while they investigate, and now he's just stuck in Antarctica. And he can't even leave the facility he's in without being supervised by a guard at all times. Not like there's anywhere he can go, but he's now essentially being held hostage in the most remote continent in the world. Which begs the question, did he see something during his flight he wasn't supposed to and is now being debriefed to forget what he saw? Or does the Navy really just care about following aviation guidelines in Antarctica that much?
An image and a video. And the image and the video are of this thing that is frozen. It looks to be some sort of a creature. Probably, if it was real, what would you say that is? It's hard to tell from this. You can see the spinal cord is probably a dragon. So I'm going to show you the video of these helicopters flying around this thing, and then you tell me what you think.
there?
Deep beneath Antarctica, the same place they won't let anyone explore, the same ice that's melting fastest.
But if he's been frozen for thousands of years, how is he still alive?
He's not just a creature, he's a consciousness, a being of energy that can survive across millennia. The ice doesn't kill him, it just contains him.
And the politicians serving him, how many are there?
Enough in key positions: defense, energy, media. They don't all know the full truth. Some just follow orders, some are promised power, others aren't entirely human.
What do you mean, not human?
His followers bred with humans centuries ago. Their bloodlines carry his essence. That's why they're so determined to free him. He's their creator, and they've been placing their people in power for generations, waiting for the right moment to thaw their master.
But why now? Why this century?
The stars are aligning. The same cosmic conditions that brought him here are returning. The ice was always temporary. They just want to control when he wakes.
And the dinosaurs, where did they go?
Some evolved into birds, others went underground. A few were preserved in ice just like him, waiting for the call to battle again.
So we need to find these preserved dinosaurs?
We need to wake them before they wake him. The question is, do we still remember how?